Okay, everyone, we have Coach Jordan Nieuwsma from Elon University, who's the Assistant Director of Sports Performance there. He's joining us today, and super excited to hear more about Elon's program. It's like not uncommon when you're online on social media and you hear people post questions about which developmental opportunities should I look for? Can you recommend any good internships? Elon's name is always out there alongside places like Pitt and the University of Kentucky. So I'm excited myself to have a bit of an inside scoop as to what goes on there and hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So to hand over the mic, Jordan, please go ahead and just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, your developmental journey, and kind of how you got to where you are right now.
No, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for putting this together for us. It's a huge help. So I am currently right now at Elon University. I work with the football team, the women's basketball team, the soccer teams. Just kind of giving you a snapshot of my early career and how I got to where I am. I tried to early on, I'd say probably in high school, I knew I wanted to be a strength coach. So I was trying to learn and do all the different things while I was still an athlete. I was able to play football in college. But during that time, whenever I wasn't playing sports, I was trying to get internships and just get experiences. And because originally when I was in high school, college, I thought, oh, I want to open up a gym. That's what everyone does. But then as I got into college and got to see more of the college setting, I realized what a unique situation and what a unique just role you have as a sports performance coach in a college setting. And I just fell in love with that, just the impact that you can have with the athletes, how much time you get to spend with them, just how you need to be very diverse and have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas and a lot of skills in a lot of different areas. So early on, I was able to get experiences in a chiropractic setting, in a private training setting, in a physical therapy setting, in a couple different club and high school settings. And then my first college experience was right after my freshman year of college. I got to intern with the University of Minnesota, their football staff that was there. So that was back when Jerry Kill was the head coach, and Coach Klein and Dustin Perry and Chad Pearson and Shea Thompson and all those guys were there. And now they've all gone on to bigger and better things. But basically, whenever I wasn't playing football, I was over at the University of Minnesota just trying to learn as much as I could from them. And day one on the internship, I realized right away, these guys know what they're doing and I have no clue what I'm doing. They were talking about things like central nervous system, and I didn't even know what that was. And so it was just very overwhelming at first, but I just knew that they were doing a lot of really cool things and getting their athletes a lot better, just seeing their progress over the years. So it was just getting thrown in right away, trying to learn those things. But I was basically able to be there about 3 years, just off and on whenever I wasn't playing football, which is cool to also have just a longer term internship as well. And then I went from there, ended up going back to where I played football and getting the assistant strength conditioning job there at a Division II school. And that was awesome because now I had learned so much, but now I get to apply it, actually be the person running the room, being the person writing the programs, making those mistakes and learning from them as we go. I thought that was a great experience just from a leadership standpoint, having to step in and make those changes, lead a team, making sure, the discipline areas and issues that you have along the way, but just getting to actually implement stuff and learn that way and realize how much more I needed to learn. So knowing I needed a lot more to learn and knowing I wasn't quite where I wanted to be and had higher aspirations and stuff, I went from there and got to intern at the University of Minnesota with Cal Dietz and Corey Peterson and Sarah Wiley and all the coaches there, and just tried to see how they do things. And that's one of the things too I try and tell interns all the time, is getting a lot of different internship experiences, because everyone does it so much different. Like the way Cal did it at Minnesota is way different than the football staff did it at Minnesota, and is way different than a physical therapist is going to do it in their setting. So just trying to get as many different settings as I could. And so I learned a lot from that Minnesota experience. And then knowing career path wise, I wanted to be in football long term. I went from there and got to intern at University of Wisconsin with their football staff there, and just learned a lot from a overall top-down cultural perspective of their athletic director, their head coach, and how that worked its way through the whole athletic department, and just the standards that they have for excellence and how they've been able to maintain just a good product on the field over and over again. And so, there's a lot of different things, and everyone did it so differently at all the different places, but adding those all up, I've been able to now implement those with my teams as I, try and take the good and leave the bad from all those different internship experiences.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's two things in particular you said that stand out to me. One is like how overwhelming it can be for young coaches. Yeah, whether you're like still in your undergrad or just coming out and having those internship experiences and realizing like there's so much to learn. But at the same time, once you progress a little bit, you look back on those times and you realize it was overwhelming because I didn't know a lot, but it means that I learned a lot. And like ultimately, like that's obviously what you're trying to do. And yeah, having all those vast different experiences is the second thing you mentioned. Like, I don't know about you, but there's quite often times where I'm just like, man, it'd be really cool to just take a week right now and just go and like watch that person in their setting, do their
perspective thing. For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely like sage advice to go and get as many different developmental opportunities as you can in different settings. Importantly, just like you say, maybe not just in the collegiate Division I Olympic setting, but going to NAIA and looking at what they have to offer, because resources are going to be different, time constraints are going to be different, personalities of people are going to be different. So yeah, how do you manage that? Yeah, that's super interesting.
Like one of the things we talk about too, if we're not that anyone is ideal, but if you were to build your ideal intern, it would have someone that had experience at all those different things. So they have the big school experience, they have the small school experience, they have the private sector, they have more of a clinical experience, and just to get a well-rounded knowledge that you can work with all the different just domains within strength and conditioning.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So then specifically like zeroing in on what happens at Elon in terms of the coaches that you help to develop, what does the typical daily, weekly schedule? Obviously, we're recording this in the kind of spring or winter semester, whatever you want to call it. But maybe not specifically for summer, but just in general at Elon, what are the expectations of intern coaches and what does their week typically look like?
Yeah. So basically we have 5 key performance areas that we expect our interns to do really well in. And basically the first one is to learn. They need to come in with a great growth mindset, just asking questions all the time, making sure that they have that humble pill that they don't know everything, and that they just come in with the right mindset of, I'm going to bring a positive attitude. I'm going to learn as much as I can. And then the next thing that we expect from them is just to have that initiative that I'm going to help with anything, no matter what comes up. I'm here to add value. I'm here to jump in and be a part of the process and be a helping hand when I'm there. And then there's, some of those smaller internship tasks, like setting up the weight room, taking it down afterwards, making sure the nutrition station is ready to go, fueled up, all of those things so that everything can flow well is part of it as well. Those are more the mundane tasks, but we try and make up with it with a lot of different aspects. And then we expect our interns to train as well. So one of the best ways to learn is by doing. And so taking one of the team's training plans, and we get a copy for them and they just follow it along. And that also helps them for the next day when they're having to coach that workout, that they've gone through it themselves. They know better things to cue and stuff like that. And then completing all assignments in our portfolio. So basically how it comes from the education standpoint is we lay it out in 2 different ways. One of them is the stuff we expect them to do on their own, and then the stuff that we'll do with them and as a group of interns. So the first thing we wanted to, like you mentioned, there's so much you need to learn, but we wanted to do that in an efficient way, where it's not just we're meeting for 3 hours a day, no one's got that time and everyone's going to fall asleep anyway. So we tried to automate a lot of those things. So we've recorded ourselves giving presentations. We've cataloged a lot of different key research articles that we'll give you access to. We have a lot of different videos that are different teaching videos and stuff that are all in there, so that all of that stuff the intern can do on their own, and they're able to kind of go through it at their own pace and be efficient with that. And then our weekly setup is each week has a specific theme. So week 2, I think, is like speed development. Week 3 is jumps. Week 4 is agility and change of direction. Week 5 is strength. So it's like all these different key areas that we know we need to be very knowledgeable in. are a part of that curriculum. And then the videos and the research articles, all of those things go along with it for the intern to follow along like throughout that week on their own time. And then in person, we will meet about those things. We'll have discussions, questions, and present different things that need to be presented in person. And then throughout the entire internship, there's one cumulative assignment that each week the intern is developing. So for example, for week 2, it's a speed week. And so the first 4 weeks, we have them design a program that is 4 weeks of speed development. And then so they have a assigned sport they're going to develop for that athlete in mind. And then the next week is jumping. So they're going to design a program that's 4 weeks of jumping. The next week, it's going to be 4 weeks of strength. The next week, energy system development, all of those things. And then at the end of the summer, they are putting all of those together to make one complete program for an 8-week training plan. And so throughout the weeks, when it gets to that speed assignment week, they will work on it all week and then present it at the end of the week so that we can provide them with feedback. The other interns can provide them with feedback so that they can refine it, so that by the end of the summer, or the end of the internship period, when they have that 8-week assignment, they've been able to make all of those changes, and it's a high quality training plan. And the idea isn't that, we just give them some obscure sport that they have to do on their own. We give them the sport that they see themselves working in, so that they could actually implement this with a team later on. It's not just some random school assignment that, you put all this work in and then it just goes in the trash. It's something that you want to build up and bring with you as you're starting to develop your programming.
Love it. Sounds super organized. It sounds like you have obviously that like digital side of things, like you said, the recorded videos, the repository of articles, maybe podcasts, whatever. Did you always have that in a digital format, or has that been a kind of silver lining of the pandemic, pushing things to a virtual state?
Yeah, so every year our internship program has gotten better. We've just been able to refine it. Us coaches have worked together to just see areas that we could improve. And yeah, going through the pandemic, we did our online internship program. And so that was like having all these different speakers come in on Zoom and present. And then we realized like how we could be, more efficient with how we're presenting the information and stuff. And so then we started recording our own presentations, like what is our philosophy on speed, and what are different aspects of strength training? What are all these different things that we kind of, as we do internships, we get the same questions over and over again. Right. So it's a way to automate that process, be more efficient with our time and the interns' time. But yeah, it definitely helped having COVID to work on some of those things.
Yeah, silver linings, 100%. No, it's exactly the same situation here with us. Have changed it to largely be a digital format in terms of where we're housing all of the information about the internship. But then just like yourselves, like doing a lot of in-person sessions at the rack, under the bar, on the floor, to make sure that information is solidified. That's really, really good. So then moving forward with these young coaches that we're trying to develop, we're obviously helping them to spread their wings and move on, hopefully to bigger and better things, so that in the future we can ask them for a job. That's the goal.
Yeah.
But in terms of intern coaches that have come through Elon and have now moved on, whether that's in the US or internationally, perhaps, can you touch on maybe one or two individuals that come to mind as being like, this person did all the right things when they were with us, and that was why they were successful in being able to move on?
Yeah. And part of the reason why we try and put so much time into developing this internship program is, selfishly, we want to be able to hire really good people and keep them on staff. But then also, we want them to succeed and go on and be directors and go on and have really successful careers. So there's both of those things that kind of work together. So that's why we really do spend a lot of time with our interns to develop them. So yeah, we've been very fortunate to have some really good interns, actually a ton of really good interns, and I'm going to leave out probably a bunch. But for example, our head strength coach here at Elon, Cam Ringstead, who works with men's basketball, he was an intern back when Coach Marco got here right away. And so he's been here ever since, and just been a great, addition to our staff, and, helped make Elon what it is now. Jeff Davidson is one of the best interns we've ever had. We were able to hire him on staff, and then now he is working at Georgia State with their track and soccer programs. So he's been doing really well. Gabe Mason is super good. He's at Arkansas State with basketball now. Let's see. I don't know. There's a bunch of other ones. So like Kendrick Pratt, he's at TCU right now working with Zach DeCant. Nathan Welty's up running Velocity up in Minnesota. Daniel Alberton, he's at Healthy Baller, doing stuff there. And Andrew Lakeridge is at a school, Division II school right now. And Hank, Grenda, Casey, Allison, we were able to hire them on staff here. So I know I'm forgetting a couple others too.
It's awesome.
I mean, I'm forgetting like 20 others, but
yeah,
like,
I know the list.
Been able to have some really, really good interns. So it's been awesome to kind of build that network out in a really positive way.
That's really cool to hear that you're able to develop them so well that you're confident enough by the time that their internship experience comes to an end, whether that's just a semester long or a year or multiple years long, that they are so invaluable at that point. And they've made themselves so much a part of the staff already that's like, this person is almost a no-brainer as to like try to keep them and bring them on. But it's also great to hear, the network spreading. I think that's one of the unique things about collegiate athletics and strength conditioning in general is like you see all these trees now developing from different universities, and this person knows that person who has a third-party connection with that person in some way, shape, or form. There's tons of like mutual contacts, which is really, really interesting. Even in this like 3 or 4 months being rolling out Connect, the amount of times I hear a name and didn't know that there was an affiliation. It's like, oh, no way, you know that person, or you had time with them as a fellow intern or as a mentor or something like that. It's really unique to hear. So you already kind of mentioned it a little bit as to like, if the perfect intern existed, they would have all these different experiences, different places. But in terms of what you guys are looking for at Elon for future semesters, so somebody who's sitting down watching this video right now, speaking specifically to them, like, what are you looking for in young coaches who decide to submit an application to Elon?
Yeah, I'd say one thing is just starting off with the mentality of having someone who's super hungry and motivated to be the best and be their best every single day. And that just goes into every aspect. And it's super interesting, like seeing how different people handle different tasks. So we'll always start our interns out with small tasks and see how they do. And then as they do well with those tasks, we give them more and more, and eventually they're leading a whole group. And so just interns that come in right away with their hair on fire and just no matter what you say, like they're ready to jump in and get after it. And then going along with that is just that mindset of like, they have taken it upon themselves. They have taken ownership of their career, and they are, continuing to learn. They're reading books. They're diving into all different types of, topics and different things that they just want to learn. And then just having that coaching skill as well is really important to us. Yeah, you need the head knowledge for sure, and continue to grow in that area, but having the personal skills, the interpersonal skills of coaching and being able to connect with athletes, to motivate athletes, to provide just that leadership aspect that you're expected to as a coach, is something that everyone can improve upon, but just showing that initiative of like, oh, I know this is important, I need to do this as well, is really important for us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can teach, we've said it so many times on these calls, you can teach X's and O's, tactics, techniques, but you can't teach passion, and like, you can't draw that out of people. So yeah, just like you said, got to come in with your hair on fire. That's an awesome phrase. I love it. That's perfect. Well, hey, Jordan, we really appreciate your time. And on behalf of everyone, these young coaches who are watching this video, thanks for what you guys are doing at Elon to help, develop these younger coaches and push them forward. And hopefully this platform will be a good service for you guys to attract those, more diverse intern coaches to come to Elon and consider it as a place to develop through and under. So like I say, thanks so much for your time, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It means a lot coming from you, and we appreciate your site that you've put together and just all the connections that you're making.
You're very welcome.